Carey has played in the NFL for 9 seasons, the last 7 with the Lions in Detroit.
Yet very few people, even here in West Michigan, realize that he's also a Grand Rapids native. Larry Figursky joining us now with more on a former West Michigan kid, now helping kids all over the country.
Don told me recently he owes everything he has in life to football. Not only what he's been able to provide his kids, but his ability to reach out and help other kids struggling as he did growing up here in Southeast Grand Rapids. And he's made that his #1 goal in life. Don also recently wrote a book, just the latest effort in a decade of community service. For the better part of a decade, Don Carey has been considered one of the top special teams players in the NFL.
It's an honor. You know, even 9 years in, it's still surreal to an extent.
His life in and road to the NFL a long ways from the one he grew up on in Southeast Grand Rapids.
Being from the inner city of Grand Rapids, raised by a single mother, really didn't have a lot of shots, you know, statistically or whatnot of being successful.
His father in and out of prison before walking out on the family when Don was just 5 years old.
My father, as I detail in the book, was kind of ripped away from us because of drugs, and it's something he's dealt with for, you know, pretty much all of my life.
Despite his mother working 2 jobs, she, Don, and his 3 sisters struggled financially.
We couldn't pay bills. My sister would, you know, give me her boys' clothes that she wore.
Which left Don often bullied at school and in the neighborhood, and in a house full of women desperately seeking a male role model and the guidance of a father he never received.
One of the worst feelings a child can have is feeling unloved, you know, or unwanted by your parent. And when you're constantly rejected by your father, right, constantly lied to, stolen from, beat on, it kind of leaves you with that question, what's wrong with me that my daddy didn't love me?
By the time he was 8, Don found an escape in writing.
I would write poems, and oftentimes they were about, you know, it'd be better for me to die, I wish I wasn't here. And that was kind of my way of coping with it, you know, until I found football.
Football giving him not only an escape, but a way to release his sadness and anger.
Football was my outlet for my anger. I was afraid to fail because I didn't want to be like my father.
By his freshman year, Don was the starting quarterback at Grand Rapids Central High School.
I played quarterback in free safety there. And then right as soon as the season's over with, my mother introduces us to a Navy guy, and he takes us right down to Norfolk, Virginia. We've been ever since.
Don starred both on the field and in the classroom at Booker T. Washington High School and went on to be a 4-year starter at Norfolk State.
I became the first person in my family to not only graduate, but to go to college.
After being drafted by the Browns and spending a year with the Jaguars, Carey signed with the Lions in 2011.
The time I spent in Detroit, I love that city.
Where he became not only a special team star, but an even bigger one in the community, with a goal of helping as many kids as possible, especially those in the same situation he once was.
I've been working with children since I came into the league.
Both with the Lions and on his own, the NFL Walter Payton Community Man of the Year nominee has held and participated in numerous events for kids each year in Detroit, and along with his wife Lakeisha, countless others across the country.
My wife, before we were married, was a child service lawyer, so we feel we're in a position where we can give back. We travel, you know, around the country speaking to young adults, high school, college students.
And with their time with kids often limited.
And I thought, well, what if I wrote it down and then I can send these back for these individuals to be able to read and really get the nuances of the things I'm talking about.
So Don wrote a book.
I'm often asked, you know, how do you become this person that I am?
His answer, the title of that book, It's Not Because I'm Better Than You.
By that, I mean there are more factors that go into play in becoming a person in my position than just talent.
The main message, simple, summed up by a quote from Thomas Edison that's in the book.
He says, opportunity is missed by most because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. It's interesting, you know, what can happen when you just make up your mind that I'm going to work for what I want.
And after 7 seasons with the Lions, Don recently signed a free agent contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but says he will still be back in Detroit and here in Grand Rapids to help kids here in his home state. You know, I've met a lot of guys in athletics who give back to the community, but I don't know if anybody I've ever met tops the amount of time that guy spends with kids.
Inspirational.
I'll say.
Thoughtful guy.
Yeah, very much so.
Thanks, Larry.